Are we prepared for the next pandemic? That is our topic today. Hi friends, my earlier video was too long for you. I split that into small portions and different topics, added more information to make it easier for watching.
We all know how to be safe during COVID-19 like epidemic.
The TV and social media are flooded with instructions. Then why am I making episode on hygiene now? There is a strong reason. None of the information you get through the media is complete. Everyone is trying to hide the root of the problem from you. Scientifically, epidemics are just diseases caused by virus or bacteria. But if you read history, every time the epidemic erupts immediately after a prolonged arrogance and injustice caused by the rulers in every country. Why the common man, innocents, should be punished for the rules' mistakes? We do not ask these questions during a war. But science has an answer for this question. Why diseases? When citizens remain stressed and depressed, first thing they lose is their body resistance against diseases. Hygiene no more remains as their priority. They get infected with any virus, any diseases.
You may simply ignore this logic, but history proves it every time.
Leave the government. The corona curve is raising again. Touch your hearts and ask yourself, are we really prepared for another epidemic?
After 17th century, Indians never lived a peaceful life. After the country went to the hands of the British rule, India faced multiple problems and calamities. Major ones are Madras famine, Bengal famine, plague, cholera, chicken pox, TB, mumps and measles. There was a continuous struggle for freedom also.
After independence, partition-related riots, India-Pakistan war, India-China war, flood, famine, diseases did not allow the people settle down. When we really settled down, we did not have clothes to wear and footwear to walk. Food was the priority at that time, not hygiene.
Hindu law book, Manusmriti gave the oldest written codes of hygiene. Bathing is one of the 5 nitya karmas, that is daily duties.
After excretion, one should wash the left hand 10 times, both hands 7 times, the penis once, and again the left palm 3 times.
Hindu personal hygiene practices are associated with washing of hands and feet, rinsing of mouth and cleaning the teeth. It is same as Islamic ablution.
Other scriptures like Vishnu Purana force personal hygiene in many ways. India remained unhygienic not only because of poverty but also due to the denial of education for the masses. Restriction of spiritual books to select a few, untouchability preventing mixing up of society to exchange knowledge, and social evils like prohibition of entry into temples and dowry system.
Lack of pure drinking water, open defecation, no facility for females in vulnerable situations are the biggest problem in India. Even in big cities, you cannot find a single public toilet, between home and office, hygienic enough to be used by females even today.
According to the World Health Organization
WHO,
hygiene refers to conditions and practices that help to prevent the spread of diseases. Common man's hygiene is bathing and washing hands, especially before handling food. Our schools teach us washing scalp and hair, keeping hair short or removing hair, wearing clean clothing, brushing teeth, cutting fingernails, avoid going out with bare feet are additional hygienic practices.
Personal hygiene refers to maintaining the body cleanliness. It also includes keeping home and workplace clean and pathogen-free. Some practices are also gender-specific, such as by a woman during her menstruation.
About 2 million people die every year due to diarrheal diseases. Majority are children are less than 5 years of age.
In India, 20% people have immunity deficiency to infection. The largest among them are the elders from rich class, who may have diabetics and heart problems. All the claims, advices, food prescriptions for improving immunity are fake and cannot work. Immunity or body resistance is the body's ability to fight infections by preparing antibodies after exposed to a foreign viruses or bacteria.
Immunity cannot be brought by drugs. More susceptible are the patient who are discharged from hospital. They move from clean hospitals to dirty residential places.
However clean you are, if you live in a dirty city, you may get infected.
Know that keeping your surroundings clean is as important as keeping yourself clean.
In India, open defecation was the ancient habit away from home. The priest caste did not allow toilets to be built inside houses. While the men can defecate in open anytime, the females have to find a suitable time before dawn, in the dark. For safety, they need companion also. The increase in population occupied much of the open spaces, no land remained empty. In cities, you may find people sitting along the railway tracks, beaches and water streams. That means ground absorbs human waste for generations.
European scientists believed that water could carry disease into the body through the skin. That fear kept them away from water. Dr. John Snow discovered that cholera was transmitted by the fecal contamination of water. The septic tanks can contaminate drinking water wells. But it took decades for his findings to gain acceptance.
Since ages, Indians had the habit of bathing daily. When Marco Polo visited India in the 13th century, he was surprised and recorded Indian hygiene practices, which are absent in Italy. In addition to bathing, Jews, Muslims had ritual washing face, hands, and feet before prayers. But the early Christians in Europe not only refused to follow all Jewish hygienic practices, but also decided to go against them. In the 4th century, churches even preached bathing as a sin. Until 14th century it continued. That way they lived without hygiene for another 1,000 years. Yet they could not escape pandemics.
In 14th century, plague killed 50% Europeans in 3 years. This was not understood how and why for another 500 years. Ignorance and sufferings drove them crazy. The Romans and Christians blamed Jews of poisoning wells. They lynched, slaughtered or burnt the Jews. The survivors were given 2 choices. They can live if they are baptized. This Holocaust was much earlier than Adolf Hitler's attempt of racial purity and ethnic cleansing, surviving until today. The same conspiracy was seen in India again after 200 years. The European ignorance combined with a racial mindset was inherited by Indian journalists. Some are Oxford graduates. They launched a campaign to blame a single community for the spread of COVID-19. It lasted for over 1 month. Could have provoked the masses towards another Holocaust but avoided. Still they are not ashamed to accept their ignorance or felt a need for expressing regret. This is due to the lack of mental hygiene that is basis for unhygienic and an unhealthy India. London's population exploded, environments became dirty. In the 1840s there was a typhoid epidemic, and they found a connection between living conditions and disease. Then first time they ordered all toilets to have ventilation to allow vapors to escape.
Water alone was not enough for cleaning. They were looking for some germ-killing agents. They found a material. It is called toilet soap. From 1858 the British started ruling India without any knowledge of hygiene or diseases.
Hard toilet soap with a pleasant smell was invented in the Middle East during the Islamic Golden Age, when soap making became an established industry. Soap was exported from Syria to other parts of the Muslim world and to Europe. Soap bubbles were the single commodity that made people volunteer to follow hygienic practices. The Indian hygienic infrastructure started with the Mughal period. Building of cities, monuments, palaces increased the need for water. That prompted them to build reservoirs and drainage systems. Everything was made with clay pipes initially, later replaced with steel pipes in the British period.
The British rule in India organized all mixed and flushed into rivers or ocean or beaches. They built effluent treatment only for their living areas.
In fact, all the developing and developed countries have standardized the city infrastructure. Drilling for underground water is prohibited in all countries. The British still fear waterborne diseases and the groundwater. Governments supply pure drinking water from lakes or rivers.
Stringent anti-pollution laws made to save waste disposal into rivers and other water bodies. Open drainage or sewage channels are banned universally. Government controls both water supply and drainage sewage disposal.
Even the roof water from your home is not allowed to fall on the ground. It has to be collected with roof gutters and sent to the municipality drainage directly.
Effluents and human waste are treated chemically or biologically before disposal. Water table data maintained by the city planning authorities.
No project allowed which may block or divert or pollute the water current below the ground. In many countries, drainage water is recycled to the grass and the garden.
We ignored all the standard norms. Borewell is the primary source of our drinking water. We never bothered about how many septic tanks are around. We still have open drainage in many areas. We never bother about millions of malarial infections due to mosquito breeding from open drainage. WHO data tells India contributes 77% of total malaria in Southeast Asia. India also leads in diarrhea, HIV, tuberculosis, measles, hepatitis B, which contribute 85% of global infections. We are not sensitive to our surroundings.
We are ignorant that open defecation ultimately mixes with groundwater or water bodies. Female menstrual waste could carry HIV-like viruses that can live for up to 6 months on Earth. The decayed organic matter in drainage water produces toxic gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide, which are repulsive and combustible.
The idea of using that gas for cooking became a topic of joke. But the organic gases are available for breathing in cities. Every street has some place where you smell these gases.
Soft drinks have reached villages but not pure drinking water. Groundwater has already been polluted or depleted. The urbanist agricultural lands supplied a lifetime of pesticide-contaminated groundwater supply. No community hygiene practices followed in Indian towns and villages. The garbage and sewage find their own way and carried away by the water currents. We are focused only on personal hygiene but 200 years behind, in our community hygienic practices. India should be thankful to that 70 to 80% of the population living in slums and villages. They are found to have developed more immunity. Less infected even with new viruses like COVID-19. They manage the distribution of essentials during lockdown period.
The remaining 20% living in clean housing contribute 80% COVID-19 infections. They thought they can escape diseases isolating themselves.
But they were the first victims of infection because an isolated lifestyle demanding less physical exercise, less exposure to sunlight and thus reduced immunity. Their clean residential complexes could not help them when half of their city is unhygienic.
You see a standardized pattern of roads internationally. The roads, footpath, drainage, water supply, electricity, telephone lines, all aesthetically concealed underground. Every road is protected by boundaries on both sides to prevent erosion by water. Footpaths allow pedestrians and cyclists. The drainage system needs uninterrupted flow by gravity. So the ground is always leveled before making roads. Internationally, speed breakers have been eliminated in city roads to enhance fast transportation.
No, madam. We do not follow any of these guidelines. Our roads are for people, animals, cyclists, motorists, and pedestrians. So we make speed breaker at every 2 minutes to avoid accident deaths.
Indian roads and streets are different. The mud lanes remains on both sides. Speeding vehicles blow the dust in all directions. Unprotected roads accumulate sand particle that hinders vehicle braking. When roads are made, the ground surface is neither hardened or terrains are leveled. Building a drainage system later becomes impossible. No boundary or protection. Every rain washes some part of the road. Buildings are made before the streets were planned, before electricity, drainage and sewage systems were built.
Big danger to human race comes from man-made epidemics.
That is the pesticide poisoning and genetically modified seeds.
Remember, pesticides trigger a wide range of allergies and sickness both in humans and animals. The chain reaction initiated by pesticide affects from water to fishes, reptiles, mammals and to humans.
Pesticide is one of the reasons for developing asthma, ADHD, depression and anxiety. Farmers' suicide can have several reasons, but the death is mostly by pesticide.
Pesticides affect animals, making them sick, spreading diseases to the entire farm. Birds have higher mortality rate right from the egg hatching period. 72 million birds are killed by pesticides in the United States each year. The spent pesticides do not decay, but accumulate in the ground and in water bodies.
Pesticide mixing into rivers and streams can kill aquatic life or make the fishes not suitable for birds, reptiles or human consumption.
In the past several decades, amphibian populations have declined across the world for unexplained reasons. Pesticides may be one of the reasons.
Plants, birds, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals have all been affected by pesticide use. You are made to think, the mobile tower radiation is the cause of missing birds? It is a wrong number. Any radiation can be absorbed by trees.
You may not know that the eggs you are eating is unfertilized eggs. Vegetarians are not safe either. They eat food grains, fruits and vegetables from genetically modified seeds which cannot germinate further. Don't worry. The increasing number of fertility clinics are due to lifestyle changes, not due to genetically modified food grains, fruits and vegetables.
So it is obvious that we have time traveled 200 years back, and have to undergo all the suffering faced by Europeans in 18th century. We are not ready for another pandemic. That is a fact.
Please like and share this video if you like. If you dislike, also let us know by comment. Scientific subjects need time to collect the materials. We cannot make 10-20 videos at a time. So subscribe our channel to get notification when new video is released. We shall meet with more awakening videos in the coming days.